You're not broken, Sophia. You're just scared, and that's okay. The cowboy's whisper cut through 3 years of pain like a blade through silk. Sophia stood there in the starlit field, her chest heaving, tears streaming down her face, staring at this stranger who'd just spoken the words that shattered every lie Grant had ever told her. Cade's calloused hand touched her cheek, gentle, despite the roughness, and something inside her ignited. Not the desperate, anxious fire of trying to be enough for someone who'd never see her worth. Something different. Something that felt like coming home after a lifetime of being lost. "How can you say that?" she choked out. "You don't even know me." His gray eyes held hers, steady and sure. "I know enough." Before we continue, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and stay with this story until the very end. Please comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far our stories have traveled. Now let's return to Sophia's journey. 3 days later, Sophia was gone. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. Not her mother, who would have launched into a lecture about resilience and moving forward. Not her sister, who would have offered wine and platitudes. Not her best friend, who would have suggested revenge or therapy or both. She just packed 2 suitcases, left a note on her apartment counter that said, "Taking time away," and drove. The radio stations changed as Denver faded in her rearview mirror. Pop became country, became static, became gospel, became country again. She didn't have a destination. She just drove west, then north, following highways that got smaller and quieter until they were barely roads at all. By sunset of the second day, her car sputtered into a town that looked like it had been sketched onto the landscape with a piece of charcoal. Willow Creek. Population 847, according to a sun-faded sign. She pulled into the gravel lot of something called the Copper Inn. The building looked older than her grandmother would have been. Paint peeled from the window frames. A hand-painted sign hung crooked above the door. Inside, a woman in her 60s looked up from a crossword puzzle. "Help you." "I need a room," Sophia said. "Just for tonight." The woman studied her with eyes that had seen plenty of runaways and heartbreaks. "We've got 7 rooms. 6 are empty. Take your pick. The quietest one." "They're all quiet, honey. This isn't Denver." The woman pushed a registration card across the counter. "I'm May. I run this place. You running from something or toward something? Does it matter?" "Not particularly, but folks who come here usually pick one or the other. Makes it easier to know how long they'll stay." Sophia signed the card without answering. Her hand shook slightly. She hoped May didn't notice. "Room 4, top of the stairs, end of the hall. Breakfast is at 7 if you want it. There's a diner 2 blocks down if you don't." May handed over a key attached to a wooden tag. "Fair warning, this town doesn't have much. People come here when they're done with much." Sophia took the key. Perfect. She climbed the stairs, found room 4, and locked herself inside. The room was small. A bed with a quilt that had seen better decades. A dresser with a mirror that made everything look slightly green. A window that overlooked a street where nothing moved. She sat on the bed and finally let herself cry. It wasn't the dramatic movie scene crying she'd imagined. It was quiet, exhausting. The kind of crying that comes from realizing you'd built a future in your head with someone who'd never been building it with you. Grant had been clear, clean, surgical in his rejection. She wasn't what he needed. She didn't fit. End of story. But what gutted her wasn't the rejection itself. It was realizing she'd spent 8 months making herself smaller, quieter, more convenient, trying to become what he wanted. And it still hadn't been enough. She fell asleep with her shoes on and woke to sunlight that felt different than Denver sunlight. Thinner, more honest. Downstairs, May was frying eggs. "Sleep." "Some." "Eat." "I should." May slid a plate across the counter. Eggs toast something that might have been ham. "Coffee's fresh. Town wakes up slow, but it wakes up decent." Sophia sat at the counter, grateful that May didn't ask questions. The eggs were better than they had any right to be. "I saw your car," May said, refilling coffee cups. "Nice vehicle for someone who looks like she drove through a tornado." I left in a hurry. Figured. You planning to stay in a hurry or slow down? I don't know yet. Well, while you're deciding, I could use help around here. My regular girl quit last week. Moved to Cheyenne with some trucker she met online. Can you clean rooms and answer a phone? Sophia looked at May. You're offering me a job. I'm offering you something to do while you figure out what you're doing. Pays not much. Room comes with it if you want. Keeps you from burning through whatever money you brought. It wasn't a plan, but it was something other than driving aimlessly or going back to Denver. Okay, Sophia said. Okay. May nodded like this was the most reasonable thing in the world. Start tomorrow. Today go walk around, meet the town. It's small enough you can see all of it in an hour. Sophia did walk. May wasn't wrong. An hour covered everything. The diner May had mentioned. A general store that sold everything from hammers to Halloween candy. A church with a steeple that leaned slightly left. A post office the size of a garden shed. A saloon that had been converted into something calling itself the Watering Hole. Though Sophia suspected it was still mostly a saloon. She walked past houses with porches where people sat and watched the day happen. Past a school that was closed for summer. Past fields that stretched out until they touched the sky. And that's when she saw him. He was working on a fence line about 50 yards from the road. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a hat that shaded his face. His movements were efficient, practiced. Hammer strikes that rang out in the quiet. Sophia stopped walking. She didn't mean to. Something about the way he worked, focused, solitary, completely absorbed, made her pause. He looked up. Their eyes met across the distance, just for a moment. Then he looked back down at his work, and Sophia kept walking, her heart doing something strange in her chest. She didn't know why that brief look had affected her. She didn't want it to affect her. She'd come here to heal from one man. The last thing she needed was to notice another. But that night, lying in room 4, she kept seeing his face, the shadow of his hat, the set of his shoulders, the way he'd looked at her, not curious, not interested, just aware. She told herself it meant nothing. She started work the next morning. May showed her the routine. Strip the beds, wash the sheets, vacuum the floors, dust the surfaces, restock the bathrooms. Simple work, mindless work, exactly what Sophia needed. Around noon, she was cleaning room 7 when she heard the front door open downstairs. May's voice drifted up. Afternoon, Cade. May. The voice was low-weathered. Got that part you ordered. Bless you. Been waiting on that for 2 weeks. What do I owe you? Nothing. Jim at the hardware store said it's covered. Well, that's kind of him. You want coffee? Just made a fresh pot. I'm good. Need to get back. Sophia moved to the doorway, listening without meaning to eavesdrop. You eat today? May asked. I'll eat later. That's what you said yesterday. I'm making stew tonight. Come by around 6. May. 6 o'clock, Cade Walker. Don't make me come find you. A pause. Then, yes, ma'am. Footsteps moved toward the door. Sophia stepped back from the doorway, but not before catching a glimpse of him leaving. Same hat, same shoulders, same man from the fence line, Cade. That evening, Sophia was restocking towels in the hallway closet when the front door opened again. 6 o'clock exactly. Punctual as a heartbeat, May said. Sit, stew's ready. Sophia stayed upstairs. This wasn't her business. May was feeding a friend, that was all. But May's voice carried. Sophia, come down here and eat. There was no polite way to refuse. Sophia descended the stairs, very aware that she was still in her work clothes. Her hair pulled back in a messy knot, her hands probably smelling like cleaning solution. Cade stood when she entered. Old-fashioned manners. His hat was off now, revealing dark hair and eyes that were more gray than blue. He was probably in his early 30s, weathered in a way that came from work, not age. Cade Walker, this is Sophia Matthews. She's helping me around here. Ma'am? He nodded. Just Sophia, she said. Ma'am makes me feel like I should be teaching Sunday school. The corner of his mouth almost moved. Almost. May ladled stew into bowls. They sat. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The only sound was spoons against bowls. Finally, May broke the silence. "Sophia's from Denver." Cade glanced at her, said nothing. "Left a few days ago," May continued, apparently determined to fill the quiet. "Needed a change of scenery." "Denver's a long way from here," Cade said. "Not a question, just an observation." "That was kind of the point," Sophia said. He nodded, like he understood completely. They ate in silence again, but it felt different now. Less awkward. More like an understanding that words weren't always necessary. When Cade finished, he stood. "Thank you, May. Best stew in 3 counties." "Only stew in 3 counties," May said, "but I'll take the compliment." He put his hat back on, nodded to Sophia. "Nice meeting you." "You too." He left. The door closed behind him with a soft click. May looked at Sophia with eyes that were far too knowing. "He's a good man." "I'm sure he is. Lost someone years back. His fiancée. Car accident. Hasn't been the same since." Sophia felt something twist in her chest. "That's awful." "It was, but he keeps going. That's what you do out here. You keep going." Sophia helped May clear the dishes. She didn't ask about Cade again, didn't want May to get ideas. But that night in room 4, she thought about the way he'd stood when she entered. The quiet in his voice, the understanding in that single nod. She told herself it still meant nothing. The next few days fell into a rhythm. Wake early, clean rooms, help May with whatever needed doing, eat simple meals, sleep in room 4, repeat. Sophia saw Cade 3 more times that week. Once at the general store where he was buying feed and she was buying shampoo. They nodded, didn't speak. Once at the post office where they arrived at the same moment and he held the door. "Thank you," she'd said. "Welcome," he'd replied. And once driving past her on the road, his truck kicking up dust. He'd raise 2 fingers from the steering wheel in greeting. Each time her heart did that strange thing. That awareness thing. That noticing thing. She hated it. On Friday evening, May told her to take the night off. "You've worked straight through. Go have a drink at the watering hole. Meet some people. You can't hide in this inn forever." "I'm not hiding." May gave her a look that said they both knew better. So Sophia went. The watering hole was exactly what she'd expected. Dark wood, older crowd, country music playing low. She sat at the bar and ordered something simple. "You're new?" The bartender was a man in his 50s with a friendly face. "Working at May's place." "Ah, she's good people. Welcome to Willow Creek." He slid her drink across. "First one's on the house. Town tradition for newcomers." "That's kind. We're a kind town, mostly." Sophia sipped her drink, looked around. Most of the tables were occupied by people who clearly knew each other. Lifelong friends, families, couples who'd probably been married since before Sophia was born. She felt very alone. "Mind if I sit?" She turned. Cade stood there, his own drink in hand, his hat pushed back slightly. "It's a free country," she said. Then immediately regretted how sharp it sounded. "I mean, yes, sure." He sat. They were quiet again, but this time the silence felt heavier, more loaded. "May says you're doing good work," he finally said. "May's easy to please. May's particular as they come. If she says you're doing good work, you are." Sophia looked at him, really looked at him. His face was all angles and shadows. A scar ran along his jawline, faint but visible. His hands were calloused, scarred from work. "She told me about your fiancé," Sophia said. She didn't know why she said it. It just came out. Cade's expression didn't change. "May tells everyone everything eventually. I'm sorry for your loss. It was a long time ago. Does it get easier?" He considered this, took a drink. "No, you just get better at carrying it." Sophia felt something crack inside her chest. Not break, just crack, like ice thawing. "I got rejected," she said. Didn't plan to say it. But there it was. By someone I thought I loved. Someone I thought loved me back. He told me I didn't fit his life, that I wasn't what he needed. Cade looked at her. That why you left Denver? Yes. That why you're here? I didn't have anywhere else to go. He nodded. Sometimes that's the best reason. They sat in silence again, but this silence was different. This silence understood. Can I tell you something? Cade said. Okay. The person who doesn't see your worth isn't the person who gets to define it. Sophia felt tears threatening. She blinked them back. That's a nice thought. It's not a thought. It's true. He finished his drink. Grant that his name... She blinked. How did you... You said his name in your sleep the other night. I was fixing May's porch railing under your window. Her face burned. I didn't know. You were crying. I almost knocked. Didn't want to intrude. I don't usually... She couldn't finish the sentence. You don't have to explain yourself to me, Sophia. The way he said her name, gentle and certain, made her chest tight. You came here to heal. That's enough. She looked at him. This quiet, wounded, impossibly kind man. Why are you being nice to me? Why wouldn't I be? Because I'm a mess. Because I'm broken. Because... You're not broken. His voice was firm, final. You're hurt. There's a difference. Sophia felt something shift inside her. Something fundamental. How do you know? Because broken things don't get up and drive 500 miles looking for a new start. Broken things stay broken. You're not broken, Sophia. You're just scared, and that's okay. The words hit her like a lightning strike. You're not broken. You're just scared, and that's okay. Nobody had said that to her. Not her mother, not her sister, not her best friend. Everyone had treated her pain like something to fix, to medicate, to therapy away. But Cade, this man she barely knew, had just given her permission to be exactly what she was. Scared, hurt, but not broken. She felt tears fall before she could stop them. I'm sorry. I don't usually cry in bars. First time for everything. He handed her a napkin. And for what it's worth, you're allowed to cry wherever you want. She laughed. It came out wet and messy, but it was real. You're very different from most men I've known. I'm just a cowboy who fixes fences and doesn't talk much. Maybe that's exactly what I needed. Their eyes met. Held. Something passed between them. Something neither of them named. Cade stood. I should go. Early morning tomorrow. Okay. He put his hat back on. Sophia? Yes. You're going to be fine. Better than fine. You just don't know it yet. He left before she could respond. Sophia sat at the bar, napkin still in her hand, tears still on her face, and felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. She walked back to the inn that night with Cade's words echoing in her head. You're not broken. You're just scared. The night air was cool, and for the first time since leaving Denver, Sophia felt like she could breathe all the way down. May was reading in the small sitting room when Sophia came in. She looked up over her glasses. You're smiling. Sophia touched her face, surprised. I guess I am. Good. It's about time. May went back to her book, but Sophia caught the satisfied look on her face. That night, sleep came easier. No dreams of Grant. No replaying the rejection. Just quiet darkness and something that felt almost like peace. The next morning started like any other. Sophia was stripping beds in room 3 when she heard voices downstairs. May's and another one. Male, unfamiliar. She's here working, May was saying, and she's not interested in whatever you're selling. I'm not selling anything, I just want to talk to her. Sophia's hands stopped moving. That voice. She knew that voice. She walked to the top of the stairs and looked down. Grant stood in the lobby, still wearing his expensive suit, looking completely out of place in this small-town inn. Her heart dropped into her stomach. What are you doing here? He looked up, relief flooding his face. Sophia. Thank God. I've been looking for you for 3 days. How did you find me? Your credit card. You used it at a gas station outside town. He took a step toward the stairs. We need to talk. No, we don't. She stayed where she was, her fingers gripping the railing. May positioned herself between Grant and the stairs. The lady said no. Grant barely glanced at her. This is private. Sophia, please. Just give me 5 minutes. You had 8 months, Sophia said. Her voice was shaking, but steady. You don't get 5 more minutes. I made a mistake. He ran his hand through his hair, the gesture she used to find endearing. Now it just looked rehearsed. Caroline and I, it didn't work out. I realized what I had with you, what I threw away. Sophia felt something cold settle in her chest. You realized, or Caroline realized, you weren't what she needed. His face tightened. That's not fair. Fair. The word came out sharp. You told me I didn't fit your life. In front of a restaurant full of people. You want to talk about fair? I was wrong. I see that now. He took another step. May didn't move. Come back to Denver. We can start over. I'll do better this time. No. Sophia, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. The answer is no. You can't just throw away what we had because of one fight. It wasn't a fight, Grant. You ended it, clearly, deliberately. You chose someone else. And I'm unchoosing her. I choose you. The words should have meant something. 3 weeks ago they would have meant everything. But standing there looking at him in his expensive suit with his expensive words, Sophia felt nothing. No, that wasn't true. She felt anger. You don't get to do this, she said. You don't get to decide I'm broken and then decide I'm fixed when it's convenient for you. I'm not a project. I'm not a backup plan. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing it looks like you're here because your first choice didn't work out. His jaw tightened. I drove 500 miles to find you. That has to mean something. It means you're used to getting what you want. Sophia started down the stairs and May stepped aside to let her pass. She stopped 3 feet from Grant, close enough to see the frustration in his eyes. I'm not coming back. Not now. Not ever. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. There's nothing for you here, Sophia. This town is nowhere. You're better than this. Am I? Because you spent 8 months making me feel like I wasn't better than anything? He reached for her hand. She pulled back. Don't touch me. Sophia. The door opened behind him. Cade walked in, stopping short when he saw the scene. Grant turned. Who the hell are you? I could ask you the same thing. Cade's voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. I'm her boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, Sophia corrected. We're working through some things. Grant said, his tone dismissive. Cade looked at Sophia. You okay? That simple question, that basic concern. It steadied her. I'm fine, she said. He's just leaving. Like hell I am. Grant's veneer cracked. I'm not leaving until you listen to reason. She doesn't want you here, Cade said, still calm, still steady. Time to go. Grant laughed. It was ugly. And who are you to tell me anything? Let me guess you're the rebound, the small-town cowboy who thinks he's her hero. I'm the person asking you to leave. Sophia. Grant ignored Cade completely. Tell him. Tell him we had something real. We had something, Sophia said. Past tense. It's over. Because of him. Because of you. She felt tears threatening but pushed them back. Because you made me feel small and wrong and not enough. Because I spent months trying to be whoever you wanted me to be. Because I'm done. Grant's face hardened. You're going to regret this. Maybe. But I'll regret it on my terms. He stood there another moment, clearly waiting for her to change her mind. When she didn't, he shook his head. You know what, fine. Stay in this nowhere town with these nobody people. See where it gets you. He pushed past Cade and walked out. The door slammed behind him. Sophia stood perfectly still, her whole body shaking. May spoke first. That man is a piece of work. That's putting it kindly, Cade said. Sophia laughed. It came out broken and wet. I need air. She walked out the back door before anyone could stop her, found herself in the small yard behind the inn, her hands pressed against her knees, trying to breathe. She heard the door open behind her. Knew without looking it was Cade. He'll come back, she said. Maybe. He doesn't take no for an answer. Then he'll get no again. She straightened, turned to face him. Why are you here? Came to fix May's water heater. Timing's coincidental. Convenient coincidence. He almost smiled. Those happen sometimes. They stood in the yard, the morning sun warm on her shoulders. Sophia felt wrung out, exhausted, but also strangely clear. Thank you, she said, for being there. You didn't need me. You handled it. I felt like I needed backup. You had May. She was about 2 seconds from throwing him out herself. Sophia smiled despite everything. She's protective. She likes you. Doesn't happen often. She likes you too. I've known her 20 years. I'm grandfathered in. They fell quiet. Sophia studied him, this man who kept showing up at exactly the right moments. Can I ask you something? She said. Go ahead. Why do you care about me, I mean? You don't know me. Cade considered this. I know enough. That's not an answer. No, it's not. He met her eyes. Truth is, I see something in you that reminds me of myself. After Emma died, I was lost, angry, couldn't figure out who I was supposed to be without her. People kept telling me to move on, get over it, find someone new. Like grief was something you could schedule and complete. What did you do? I stopped listening to them, started listening to myself. Figured out that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It just means learning to carry it better. Sophia felt something tighten in her throat. How long did it take? Still taking. Probably always will be. He adjusted his hat. But it gets lighter. Year by year, day by day. You learn to breathe around it. Grant told me I was making a mistake, staying here. Are you? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe you're making the first real choice you've made in a long time. She looked at him. You think I made the right call? Telling him to leave. I think you're the only one who can answer that. That's a very diplomatic answer. I'm a very diplomatic person. This time he did smile just a little. Sophia laughed. Liar. Okay, you want the truth. I think anyone who makes you feel small doesn't deserve you. I think you drove 500 miles to get away from him for a reason. And I think showing up here trying to take you back because his backup plan failed says everything you need to know about his character. Tell me how you really feel. You asked. She smiled. Then the smile faded. What if he's right, though? What if there's nothing for me here? What if I'm just running away? Are you? I don't know. I thought I was running away. But now it feels more like I'm running toward something. I just don't know what yet. Cade was quiet for a moment. Then, you want to know what I think you're running toward? What? Yourself. The version of yourself you were before you started trying to fit into someone else's life. The words hit her square in the chest. She felt tears spring up hot and sudden. Hey. His voice gentled. You okay? No. Yes, I don't know. She wiped her eyes. Why do you keep saying exactly what I need to hear? Practice. I spend a lot of time alone. Get good at talking to myself. She laughed through her tears. You're strange. I've been called worse. They stood there, the space between them charged with something neither of them was ready to name. I should get back to work, Sophia said, and I should fix that water heater. But neither of them moved. Cade. Yeah. I'm glad you were here today. Me too. He went inside. Sophia stayed in the yard another moment, letting the sun warm her face, letting herself feel everything she'd just been through. Grant had come. Grant had left, and she'd sent him away. The thought should have scared her. Instead, it felt like freedom. Over the next week, Sophia settled deeper into Willow Creek. She learned the rhythms of the town, the names of the regulars who came into the inn the best time to buy fresh bread from the general store. She learned that Mrs. Patterson at the post office knew everyone's business, that Frank at the diner made coffee strong enough to wake the dead, and that Thursday nights at the watering hole meant live music if you were generous with the definition of live and even more generous with music. She also learned that Cade had a habit of showing up, not in an intrusive way, not in a pursuing way. He just appeared, fixing things for May, picking up supplies at the general store when Sophia happened to be there, sitting at the bar on Friday night when she stopped in for a drink. They talked, small conversations that grew longer. She learned he'd grown up on his family's ranch, that his father had died when he was 16, that he'd almost left Willow Creek after Emma's death, but couldn't bring himself to abandon the land. "It's in my blood," he said one evening. They were sitting on May's porch watching the sun set over the fields. "The ranch, the work, this place. I tried to hate it after Emma, tried to blame it for keeping us here when maybe if we'd been somewhere else, somewhere with better roads, faster hospitals." He trailed off. "But it wasn't the ranch's fault," Sophia said quietly. "No, it was just bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. Drunk driver ran a red light." He took a breath. "She died on impact. They told me she didn't suffer. I don't know if that's true, or if they just say that to make people feel better." Sophia reached over and took his hand. He looked down at their joined hands, surprised. "I'm sorry," she said. "It was 5 years ago. That doesn't make it hurt less." He squeezed her hand, didn't let go. "No, it doesn't." They sat like that until the sun disappeared completely and the stars came out, their hands linked, neither of them saying anything, because nothing needed to be said. The next morning, Sophia was cleaning room 2 when her phone rang. She almost didn't answer, but then saw it was her sister. "You're alive," Jenna said when Sophia picked up. "Mom's been worried." "I'm fine, I left a note." A note that said, "taking time away." That's not exactly detailed information. It was all the information I had. Jenna sighed. "Grant called me. Said he found you in some tiny town in the middle of nowhere." Sophia's grip tightened on the phone. "What did he say?" "That you're making a mistake. That you're confused. That you need time to think clearly." A pause. "Are you okay, Soph?" "I'm better than okay." "Really?" "Because Grant made it sound like you're having some kind of breakdown." "Of course he did." Sophia sat on the freshly made bed. "Did he tell you what he said to me, why I left?" "He said you had a fight about the future. He told me I didn't fit his life, that I wasn't what he needed. Then he picked someone else." The words came out flat, factual. "Then that didn't work out, so he drove 500 miles to tell me he'd made a mistake and I should come back." Silence. Then, "He's an asshole." "Yes." "And you told him to leave." "Yes." "Good. You should have punched him too, but I'll settle for you telling him off." Jenna's voice softened. "So where are you really?" "A town called Willow Creek. It's small, quiet. I'm working at an inn." "You're working at an inn?" "I needed something to do. Sophia Matthews, city girl extraordinaire, is working at a small town inn." Jenna laughed. "I never thought I'd see the day." "Neither did I. Are you happy?" The question surprised her. "I think I'm starting to be." "Then stay as long as you need to. I'll handle Mom." "Thank you. But Soph, if you meet some handsome cowboy out there, you have to tell me. I'm living vicariously through you now." Sophia thought of Cade, his quiet strength, his gentle words, the way her heart jumped every time she saw him. "I'll let you know," she said. After she hung up, Sophia sat on the bed for a long moment, thinking about what Jenna had asked. Was she happy? 2 weeks ago, she would have said happiness was impossible, that Grant had taken it with him when he walked away. But now, sitting in this simple room, in this quiet town, she realized something. Grant hadn't taken her happiness. She'd given it to him, handed it over piece by piece, trying to be what he wanted, trying to earn his approval, trying to fit into a life that was never meant for her. And now she was taking it back. The thought was so powerful, so clear, that she had to stand up and move. She finished cleaning the room, then went downstairs, where May was doing paperwork. "I want to stay," Sophia said. May looked up. "You're already staying." "No, I mean really stay. Not just until I figure things out. I want to make this work. The job, the town, all of it." May studied her. "What changed?" "I did." May smiled. "Good answer. Room's yours as long as you want it. Job too. Though I warn you, winter here is brutal." "I'll manage." "I believe you will." May went back to her paperwork. Cade stopped by earlier. Said he's got some horses that need exercising if you're interested. Might be good for you. Get you out of this inn before you start talking to the wallpaper. Sophia felt her heart skip. He said that his exact words were, "If Sophia wants to learn to ride, I've got horses. I'm translating into human." "When?" "This afternoon if you want. He's at his ranch, about 3 miles north. Can't miss it." Sophia tried not to seem too eager. "I might stop by." May didn't look up, but Sophia caught her smile. "You do that." At 2 o'clock, Sophia borrowed May's truck and drove north. The ranch appeared exactly where May said it would. A simple house, a barn that had seen better years' fences that stretched out toward the horizon. Cade was in the corral with a horse working it through some kind of exercise. He saw her truck and waved. Sophia parked and walked over, suddenly nervous. "May said you had horses." "I do. You want to meet them?" "I've never ridden before." "Everyone starts somewhere." He opened the gate. "Come on." He introduced her to 3 horses. Thunder, a massive black gelding, Daisy, a gentle mare with a white star on her forehead, and Scout, a younger horse still learning. "We'll start you on Daisy," Cade said. "She's patient. Won't mind if you make mistakes." He taught her how to approach the horse, how to read her body language, how to saddle and bridle her. His hands were gentle, his voice calm. Sophia found herself watching him more than the horse. "You're staring," he said without looking at her. She flushed. "I'm paying attention." "Uh-huh." But he was smiling. He helped her mount, and suddenly she was sitting on a horse, the ground much farther away than she'd expected. "Relax," Cade said. "She can feel your tension." "That's easy for you to say. You're not the one on the horse." "I've been on plenty of horses, fallen off plenty too." "That's not reassuring." He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was so unexpected, so genuine, that Sophia forgot to be nervous. "Okay," she said. "What now?" He walked her through the basics. How to hold the reins, how to signal with her legs, how to turn and stop. Daisy was patient, just like he'd promised. After an hour, Sophia was sweating but grinning. "That was amazing." "You're a natural." "Liar." "You stayed on. That's more than most people do their first time." He helped her dismount, and she stumbled slightly. His hands caught her waist, steadying her. They stood there, his hands on her waist, her hands on his shoulders, barely 6 inches between them. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For this. For being patient. For—" She trailed off, not sure how to finish. "For being here," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes." His hands didn't move. Neither did hers. "Sophia," he said. "Yes." "I need to tell you something." Her heart hammered. "Okay." But before he could speak, her phone rang in her pocket. Loud, insistent. They stepped apart. Sophia pulled out her phone. Grant's name flashed on the screen. "Don't answer it," Cade said. She looked at him, then at the phone, then back at him. She declined the call. "Good choice," he said. "What were you going to tell me?" He hesitated. Whatever moment they'd had was gone, broken by the interruption. "Just that you did good today. With Daisy." It wasn't what he'd been about to say. They both knew it. But Sophia didn't push. "Thank you." She drove back to the inn as the sun started to set, her body sore from riding, her heart full of something she couldn't quite name. That night, Grant called 4 more times. She didn't answer any of them. By the 5th call, Sophia turned her phone off completely. May noticed the next morning. Phone trouble, Grant trouble. Sophia was making coffee, her movements sharp and frustrated. He won't stop calling. Block him. I did. He's calling from different numbers now. May muttered something unflattering under her breath. Want me to answer next time I've got some choice words saved up? Despite everything, Sophia smiled. Tempting. But I think ignoring him sends a clearer message. Does it though? Men like that don't understand silence. They understand doors slammed in their faces. I'll keep that in mind. She spent the morning cleaning rooms and trying not to think about Cade, about his hands on her waist, about whatever he'd been about to say before Grant's call interrupted, about the way her heart had hammered when they'd stood that close. Around noon, someone knocked on the front door. Sophia was upstairs and heard May answer. She's not interested in talking to you. Sophia's stomach dropped. She went to the top of the stairs. But it wasn't Grant. It was a woman, maybe 40, wearing jeans and a faded t-shirt. She held a casserole dish. I'm not here to cause trouble, the woman said. I'm Caroline. The name hit Sophia like cold water. Caroline. Grant's Caroline. The woman he'd chosen instead. Sophia came down the stairs slowly. What do you want? Caroline looked uncomfortable. To apologize and to warn you. May crossed her arms. This ought to be good. Can we talk? Caroline asked Sophia. Just for a minute. Sophia wanted to say no, wanted to close the door and pretend this wasn't happening. But something in Caroline's face stopped her. Fine, 5 minutes. They sat on the porch. Caroline set the casserole dish between them like a peace offering. I didn't know about you, Caroline said. When Grant and I started dating, he told me he was single. Of course he did. I found out later, after you left. He let something slip, and when I pushed, he admitted he'd just ended things with someone. Caroline's jaw tightened. He made it sound mutual, like you'd both decided it wasn't working. That's not what happened. I know. I heard him on the phone with you, the day he came here. She looked at Sophia. I heard what he said, how he talked to you, and I realized what kind of man I'd been dating. Sophia didn't know what to say. I broke up with him that night, Caroline continued. Told him I wasn't interested in being anyone's second choice. He didn't take it well. He doesn't take anything well. No, he doesn't. Caroline leaned back. That's why I'm here, to warn you. He's not done. He's obsessed with the idea that you're here living your life without him. He talks about it constantly, about how you've made a mistake, how you'll come crawling back. I won't. I believe you, but he doesn't. And when Grant doesn't get what he wants, he gets mean. Sophia felt ice settle in her chest. What are you saying? I'm saying be careful. He's been drinking more, talking about coming back here, about making you see reason. Caroline stood. I just thought you should know. Why are you helping me? Because I was you once, with a different man, and nobody warned me. She picked up the casserole dish and handed it to Sophia. It's chicken and rice. Comfort food. You look like you could use some. She left before Sophia could respond. May came out. Well, that was unexpected. She seems nice. She's smart. Got out before Grant showed his true colors. May looked at Sophia. You worried. Should I be? Hard to say. Men like Grant are unpredictable. But you're not alone here. You know that, right? Sophia nodded, but her hands were shaking. That afternoon, she walked to Cade's ranch. She needed to move to do something other than sit and wait for Grant to show up again. Cade was in the barn when she arrived. He looked up surprised. Didn't expect you today. Is that okay? It's fine. Good, actually. I could use the company. He wiped his hands on his jeans. You want to ride again? I want to talk. His expression shifted. Okay, let's talk. They sat on hay bales in the barn. Sophia told him about Caroline's visit, about Grant's obsession, about the warning. Cade listened without interrupting. When she finished, his jaw was tight. He needs to leave you alone. I know. No, I mean someone needs to make him leave you alone. Cade, I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about a clear message, legal if necessary. A restraining order. If it comes to that, yes. Sophia wrapped her arms around herself. I don't want to make this bigger than it is. It's already big. He's harassing you from 500 miles away. That's not normal behavior. He's just angry. He'll get over it. Will he? Cade leaned forward. Sophia, men like Grant don't just get over rejection. They escalate. You sound like you know from experience. I know what loss can do to people, how it can twist them up inside. And I know the difference between grief and obsession. His voice softened. Emma's death broke me, but it didn't make me cruel. There's a difference. Sophia looked at him, really looked at him, at the strength in his face, the kindness in his eyes. How did you survive it, losing her? Barely. For the first year, I didn't think I would. I stopped eating right, stopped sleeping. The ranch almost fell apart because I couldn't make myself care about anything. What changed? May. She showed up one morning, took one look at me and said, Emma would be ashamed of you. Shocked me right out of my grief spiral. That sounds like May. She was right, though. Emma would have hated seeing me give up on everything we'd built together. So I started working again. Started living again. Not because I wanted to, but because she would have wanted me to. Do you still miss her? Every day. But it's different now. It's not the kind of missing that breaks you. It's the kind that reminds you that you loved someone worth missing. Sophia felt tears building. I don't know if I ever loved Grant like that. Then maybe that's your answer, about whether he's worth this much of your energy. The simplicity of it hit her. She'd spent weeks analyzing her feelings for Grant, wondering if she'd made a mistake, leaving questioning her own judgment. But Cade was right. If she had to work this hard to figure out if she loved him, then maybe she never really did. I think I love the idea of him, she said slowly. The idea of having someone, of not being alone. But the actual person, I'm not sure I even knew him. That's honest. Is it pathetic? It's human. They sat in the quiet of the barn. Sophia could hear horses moving in their stalls, could smell hay and leather, and something indefinably Cade. Can I ask you something? She said. Always. What were you going to tell me yesterday before Grant called? Cade was quiet for a long moment. I was going to tell you that I haven't felt this way about anyone since Emma died. And that scares the hell out of me. Sophia's breath caught. What way? Interested, invested. Like I want to know everything about you. Like your happiness matters to me. He met her eyes. Like I'm falling for you, and I don't know how to stop it. Her heart was hammering so hard she could hear it. Cade, I know it's too soon. I know you're still healing from Grant. I know I'm probably the last thing you need right now. He stood up, started pacing. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel it. Every time I see you, every time we talk, it gets stronger. And I don't know what to do with that. Sophia stood too. What if I feel it too? He stopped pacing. Turned to face her. Do you? I think so. I don't know. Everything's so confused right now. Grant, this town, you. She pressed her hands to her face. I came here to figure myself out, not to fall for someone else. I know. But I can't stop thinking about you either. About the way you look at me. The way you say my name. The way everything feels easier when you're around. Sophia. He said her name like a prayer. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm scared of getting hurt again. Of making another mistake. Of trusting the wrong person. I would never hurt you. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise I'd try my damnedest not to. They stood there 3 feet apart, the space between them charged with everything they weren't saying. Then Sophia closed the distance. She kissed him, soft at first, tentative. Cade froze for half a second, then his arms came around her, and he kissed her back, like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathing hard. "That was—" Sophia started. "Yeah," Cade finished. "I don't know what I'm doing." "Me neither. But I don't want to stop." "Good, because neither do I." He kissed her again, deeper this time. Sophia felt something inside her chest crack open, something that had been locked tight since Grant's rejection. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was possibility. Hope. The belief that maybe, just maybe, she could trust again. They spent the rest of the afternoon together. Cade taught her more about the horses, told her stories about growing up on the ranch, showed her the land he'd worked his whole life to maintain. Sophia found herself laughing more than she had in months, relaxing in a way she'd forgotten was possible. As the sun started to set, Cade drove her back to the inn. "Tomorrow?" he asked. "Tomorrow?" she agreed. She went inside feeling lighter than air. May took one look at her face and grinned. "About time." "What? You and Cade? About time?" Sophia felt her face heat. We're just figuring things out." "Uh-huh, that's what they all say." May went back to her book, still smiling. Sophia went upstairs to her room, changed into pajamas, and was about to turn off her phone when she saw she had 17 missed calls, all from different numbers. Her stomach clenched. She listened to the voicemails. The first few were Grant, his voice calm and reasonable. "Sophia, please call me back. We need to talk about this like adults." Then they got angrier. "You can't just ignore me forever. I deserve better than this." By the 10th one, he was yelling, "You think you're better than me now? You think that Cowboy gives a damn about you? He's just using you, Sophia, just like everyone else will." The last one was quiet again. Too quiet. "I'm coming back there. We're going to settle this face to face, whether you like it or not." Sophia's hands shook as she lowered the phone. She went downstairs. May was locking up for the night. "Grant's coming back," Sophia said. May's expression hardened. "When?" "I don't know. Soon, based on his messages." "Then we prepare. I'll call Sheriff Morrison in the morning. He'll want to know there might be trouble." "May, I don't want to cause problems." "You're not causing anything. Grant is. And we don't let bullies win in this town." Sophia felt tears threaten. "Thank you." "Nothing to thank me for. This is what we do. We take care of our own." May pulled her into a quick, fierce hug. "You're one of us now. That means something here." Sophia went to bed but couldn't sleep. Every car sound outside made her jump. Every creak of the old building set her nerves on edge. Around 3 in the morning, she heard gravel crunching outside. She went to the window and looked down. A car was parked in the lot. She couldn't see the driver, but she knew. She knew it was Grant. She grabbed her phone and texted Cade. "He's here." The response came immediately. "Don't go outside. I'm on my way." 10 minutes later, another truck pulled into the lot. Cade got out, walked straight to the other car, and knocked on the window. Grant rolled it down. Sophia couldn't hear what they were saying, but she could see their body language. Cade calm and solid. Grant agitated and angry. The conversation lasted maybe 5 minutes. Then Grant's car started and pulled out of the lot, tires spitting gravel. Cade stood there until the tail lights disappeared. Then he looked up at Sophia's window. She went downstairs and opened the door. "What did you say to him?" she asked. "That if he comes on this property again, I'll have him arrested for trespassing. That Sheriff Morrison has already been notified, and that you have witnesses to his harassment." "Did he believe you?" "I don't know, but he left. For now." For now. Cade's jaw was tight. "But he'll be back. Men like him always come back." "I can't keep living like this, looking over my shoulder, waiting for him to show up. Then we make it so he can't." Cade pulled out his phone. "I'm calling Morrison right now. You're filing a formal complaint. We document everything. Every call, every visit, every threat." "Cade, this isn't optional, Sophia. This is your safety." She nodded, feeling numb. Sheriff Morrison arrived 20 minutes later, looking irritated at being woken but professional. He took Sophia's statement, listened to the voicemails, made notes about Grant's previous visits. "I can't arrest him for calling you," Morrison said, "but I can pay him a visit. Make it clear that continued contact will result in charges. Sometimes that's enough to scare them straight." "And if it's not?" Sophia asked. "Then we escalate. Restraining order, harassment charges, whatever it takes." He closed his notebook. "But Miss Matthews, you need to understand something. Men who do this kind of thing, they're unpredictable. You need to be careful. Don't go anywhere alone. Keep your phone on you. Trust your instincts." After Morrison left, Cade sat with Sophia in the lobby until the sun came up. "You should go home," she said. "Get some sleep." "I'm fine here." "Cade, I'm not leaving you alone. Not tonight." So they sat together on May's worn couch, Sophia's head eventually finding its way to Cade's shoulder, his arm around her, both of them too wired to sleep, but finding comfort in not being alone. May found them there in the morning. She didn't say anything, just made coffee and set 2 cups on the table in front of them. "Thank you," Sophia said, to both of them. "Nothing to thank us for," May said, echoing her words from the night before. "This is what family does." Family. The word settled over Sophia like a blanket. She'd been in Willow Creek less than a month, but somehow these people had become more family than her actual family had been in years. That afternoon, Sheriff Morrison called. Paid Grant a visit at the motel just outside town. He's agreed to head back to Denver, said he got the message. "Do you believe him?" Sophia asked. Morrison paused. "I believe he heard me. Whether he listened is another question. Stay vigilant." Sophia hung up and told Cade, who'd stayed close all day. "It's not over," she said. "No, but it's a step. I hate this. I hate that he has this much power over my life." "Then we take the power back." "How?" Cade thought for a moment. "By not letting him control your choices. You want to stay in Willow Creek?" "Yes." "You want to keep working for May?" "Yes." "You want to see where this thing between us goes?" Sophia looked at him. At this man who'd shown up at 3 in the morning to protect her. Who'd sat with her until dawn. Who looked at her like she was worth protecting. "Yes," she whispered. "I do." "Then that's what we do. We keep living. We don't let Grant or anyone else make us small." He took her hand. "And we do it together." Sophia squeezed his hand, feeling something shift inside her. Not just hope this time, something stronger. Determination. Grant had taken enough from her, her confidence, her peace, her sense of safety. She wasn't giving him anything else. Together, she agreed. That night, Sophia slept without nightmares. And for the first time since leaving Denver, she woke up feeling like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. But peace never lasted long. 3 days later, Sophia was walking back from the general store when she saw him. Grant, standing outside the inn, hands in his pockets, looking like he'd been waiting for hours. Her groceries almost slipped from her hands. "You need to leave." "I just want to talk." His voice was different now, softer, almost pleading. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." "The sheriff told you to stay away from me." "The sheriff suggested I go home. I did. And then I realized I couldn't leave things the way we left them." He took a step forward. She took a step back. "Sophia, please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But doesn't our history mean anything?" "Our history is exactly why I don't want to talk to you. I loved you." "No, Grant. You love the idea of me fitting into your life. There's a difference." His face hardened. "Is this about him, the cowboy? This is about me, about choosing myself for once." "That's a nice speech, very empowering." His tone turned bitter. "But let's be honest, you're running away. From me, from Denver, from everything real. and you're using this town and that man as an excuse. I'm not running away. I'm running towards something better. Better? He laughed. It was an ugly sound. You call this better working as a maid in some nowhere town, dating some ranch hand who probably can't even afford to take you to a decent restaurant. Sophia felt anger flash through her. You need to leave. Now. Or what you'll call your cowboy. Have him threaten me again. I'll call the sheriff, like I should have done the second I saw you. She pulled out her phone. Grant lunged forward and grabbed her wrist. Don't. Let go of me. Not until you listen. She said let go. Cade's voice came from behind her. Low. Dangerous. Sophia had never heard him sound like that. Grant released her wrist immediately. This is a private conversation. Not anymore. Cade moved to stand beside Sophia. You need to leave, right now. And if I don't, then I make you leave. And trust me, you don't want that. They stood there, 3 people locked in a standoff. Sophia's heart was hammering. Grant looked between them, his face twisted with fury, and something else. Something that looked almost like desperation. You're making a mistake, Sophia, he said finally. When this falls apart, and it will, don't come crying back to me. I won't, she said. Her voice didn't shake. I promise you that. Grant stared at her another moment, then turned and walked to his car. But before he got in, he looked back. You think you know him, he called out. Ask him why he really moved to Willow Creek. Ask him about the accident. Ask him what he's running from. He got in his car and drove away. Sophia turned to Cade. What is he talking about? Cade's face had gone pale. Nothing. He's just trying to cause trouble. Cade. It's nothing, Sophia. Then why do you look like you've seen a ghost? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, can we go somewhere? Talk. Yes. They drove to his ranch in silence. Sophia's mind was racing. What did Grant mean? What accident? What was Cade running from? Inside his house. Cade poured them both water with shaking hands. They sat at his kitchen table. He still hadn't looked at her. Talk to me, she said gently. He took a breath. I didn't move to Willow Creek. I was born here. But I did leave for a while, after high school. Went to college in Wyoming. Okay. That's where I met Emma. We were both studying agriculture. Fell in love fast. Got engaged our senior year. Planned to come back here together, work the ranch, build a life. What happened? We were driving back after graduation. Had all our stuff packed in the truck. We were so excited. Emma had all these plans for the ranch, for the house, for everything. His voice cracked. We stopped at a gas station just outside town. I went in to pay. When I came out, Emma was talking to some guy. He was drunk, aggressive, hitting on her. I told him to back off. Sophia's stomach clenched. Cade? He took a swing at me. Missed. I pushed him away. He fell, hit his head on the concrete. Cade's hands were shaking now. Started seizing. I called 911, tried to help, but by the time the ambulance came, he trailed off. What happened to him? Died 3 days later in the hospital. Brain injury. Cade looked at her, finally his eyes haunted. They cleared me. Said it was self-defense, that I was protecting Emma. But his family, they didn't see it that way. They blamed me, said I killed him. But you didn't. I pushed him, Sophia. He died because I pushed him. His voice was raw. Emma couldn't handle it. The guilt, the family's accusations, the trial, even though I wasn't charged. She started having panic attacks, couldn't sleep. 2 months after we moved back here, she got in her car to go to the store, and a drunk driver hit her. Sophia felt tears on her face. Cade, that's not your fault, isn't it? If I hadn't pushed that guy, if Emma hadn't been traumatized by what happened, maybe she wouldn't have been so distracted that day. Maybe she would have seen the other car coming. You can't think like that. I've thought like that every day for 5 years. He stood up, started pacing. That's what Grant meant. That I'm running from what I did. And he's right. I am. I stayed here because leaving felt like abandoning Emma. But staying here means living with the constant reminder of everything I destroyed. Sophia stood too, went to him, took his hands. You didn't destroy anything. A drunk man assaulted Emma. You protected her. That's not a crime. Tell that to his family. Tell that to the people in town who look at me and see a killer. Does May look at you like that? Does Sheriff Morrison do any of the people who actually know you? He was quiet. Cade, you're a good man who had something terrible happen. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. I should have told you, he said. Before we kissed. Before any of this. You deserve to know. Why didn't you? Because I was scared you'd look at me differently, that you'd see what everyone else sees. And what's that? Someone broken, someone dangerous, someone not worth trusting. Sophia cupped his face in her hands. I see someone who's been carrying guilt that isn't his to carry. I see someone who's survived more pain than most people can imagine. And I see someone who's still kind, still gentle, still capable of love, despite everything he's lost. Sophia, Grant told you that to hurt us, to make you doubt yourself and make me doubt you. Don't let him win. Cade pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. She felt his whole body shaking. I'm so tired, he whispered. So tired of carrying this. Then let me help you carry it. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in the middle of his kitchen. Both of them wounded, both of them healing, both of them brave enough to try. Later they sat on his porch as the sun went down. Sophia's head on his shoulder, his arm around her. I meant what I said, she told him. About helping you carry it. I know. But Sophia, you need to understand something. Emma's family still lives in the next county. They still blame me. If we're together, you'll be associated with me. People will talk. They might treat you differently. Let them talk. I'm serious. This town is small. Everyone knows everyone's business. Being with me comes with baggage. Being with anyone comes with baggage. Yours just happens to be trauma you didn't cause, instead of character flaws you refuse to address. She sat up, looked at him. I'm not afraid of your past, Cade. I'm only afraid of you pushing me away because of it. I don't want to push you away. Then don't. He kissed her. Soft and desperate and full of everything they'd both been too scared to say. When they broke apart, he said, I'm falling in love with you. Her breath caught. Cade, I know it's fast. I know we barely know each other. But I can't pretend I don't feel it. After Emma, I didn't think I'd ever feel this way again. And then you showed up broken and beautiful and determined to heal, and I couldn't help it. I'm falling for you too, she whispered. And it terrifies me. Good. It should. Love is terrifying. Is that what this is, love? I think it might be, or at least the beginning of it. Sophia felt tears building. I don't know how to do this. How to trust again. How to let someone in. Neither do I. So we'll figure it out together. They stayed on the porch until the stars came out, talking about everything and nothing, making promises they hoped they could keep. When Cade drove her back to the inn, May was waiting up. She took one look at their faces and nodded. Grant came by again, she said. Sophia's stomach dropped. When? About an hour ago. I told him you weren't here. He asked where you were. I told him it was none of his damn business. May's expression was fierce. He said he'd wait. I told him if he set foot on my property again, I'd shoot him for trespassing and not lose a minute of sleep over it. May, I meant it too. I've got a shotgun upstairs and I know how to use it. She looked at Cade. Morrison needs to do more than talk to him. I'll call him in the morning, Cade said. We'll file for a restraining order. Good, because that man is escalating. I've seen it before. It never ends well. After Cade left, Sophia lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You can't hide from me forever. Her hands started shaking. She called Cade. He's texting me from different numbers now. Screenshot everything. We'll add it to the file. Kate, I'm scared. I know, but you're not alone. I'm here. May's here. The whole town's here if you need them. What if that's not enough? Then we make it enough. She fell asleep with her phone in her hand, Cade's voice still echoing in her head. The next morning, Sheriff Morrison came by with paperwork. Restraining order, needs your signature. Sophia signed with shaking hands. This means if he comes within 500 feet of you, he can be arrested, Morrison explained. It's active immediately. I'll have deputies serve him today. What if he doesn't care? Then we arrest him. Simple as that. Morrison's face was grim. But Miss Matthews, I need you to take precautions. Don't go anywhere alone. Keep your phone charged. If you see him, call 911 immediately. I will. After Morrison left, Sophia called her sister. I need you to know something, she said when Jenna answered, in case anything happens. Sophia, you're scaring me. Grant won't leave me alone. He's here, in Willow Creek. He's been harassing me. What, Sophia, you need to come home. Get away from him. I'm not running again. I'm done running. Then I'm coming there. Jenna, no. I'm your sister. If some asshole is threatening you, I'm coming. Give me the address. Sophia gave her the address, feeling something loosen in her chest. She wasn't alone. She had Cade May and now Jenna. She had people who cared. Jenna arrived 2 days later, driving straight through from Denver. She took one look at Sophia and pulled her into a fierce hug. You look different, Jenna said. Different how? Stronger, clearer. Jenna held her at arm's length, and happier underneath the stress. I am, I think. Good. Now show me this town, and introduce me to the cowboy. They spent the afternoon walking around Willow Creek. Sophia introduced Jenna to May, to the regulars at the diner, to Frank, who made the strong coffee, and finally to Cade. He was working on a fence when they arrived. He saw them coming and set down his tools, wiping his hands on his jeans. Cade, this is my sister Jenna. Jenna looked him up and down. So you're the one. Cade's ears went slightly red. I suppose I am. Good. Because if you hurt my sister, I know where you live. Jenna, Sophia said. But Cade smiled. Fair enough. If I hurt your sister, I'd deserve whatever you did to me. Jenna studied him another moment, then nodded. Okay. I like him. Thank God, Sophia muttered. Can we go now? That night, the three of them plus May had dinner at the inn. Jenna told embarrassing stories about Sophia's childhood. May told equally embarrassing stories about Cade. Sophia and Cade sat side by side, their hands occasionally finding each other under the table. This is nice, Jenna said as they cleared plates. I can see why you stayed. It surprised me too. Are you happy, Soph? Really happy? Sophia thought about it. About the inn, the work, the town. About Cade's quiet strength and May's fierce protection. About feeling like she belonged somewhere for the first time in years. I'm getting there, she said. For the first time in a long time, I actually believe I can be. Then Grant can go to hell. Agreed. But Grant, it turned out, wasn't done. 2 days later, Sophia was closing up the inn when her phone rang. The number was blocked. Against her better judgment, she answered. Hello. I'm not giving up on us. Grant's voice was slurred, drunk. You think you can just replace me with some cowboy who killed someone? Sophia's blood ran cold. How do you... I did some research. Found some interesting articles about a man who died, about Cade Walker who pushed him, about the lawsuit that was dropped. His laugh was ugly. Does he tell you about that when you're in bed together? Does he tell you he's a killer? He defended someone he loved. That's not the same thing. Is that what he told you? Did he tell you the man's widow tried to sue him? That Emma couldn't handle the guilt, that she killed herself? That's not true. She died in a car accident. Did she? Or did she drive into that intersection on purpose? Eyewitnesses said she didn't even try to brake. Sophia felt sick. You're lying. Ask him. Ask him if Emma's death was really an accident. Ask him if he's not responsible for 2 deaths instead of 1. She hung up. Her hands were shaking so hard she dropped the phone. Cade found her 10 minutes later, sitting on the floor, tears streaming down her face. "What happened?" she told him. Everything Grant had said. Watched his face go pale. "Is it true?" she whispered. Did she do it on purpose?" Cade sat down beside her heavily. "I don't know. The police ruled it an accident. But there were questions. She'd been depressed, anxious. Some people thought..." He couldn't finish. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't know how. Because it's the question that keeps me up at night. Did I drive her to it? Did my actions that day cause a chain reaction that ended with Emma dead?" His voice broke. "I don't have answers, Sophia. Just guilt." She took his hand. "Grant wants us to doubt each other, to doubt this. He wants to destroy what we're building." "Maybe he's right. Maybe I am too broken for this." "Stop." She turned to face him fully. "You are not broken. You are not responsible for a drunk man assaulting Emma. You are not responsible for another drunk driver hitting her car. And you are not responsible for Grant being unable to accept that I don't want him. But, no, I'm done letting other people's pain dictate my choices. I'm done letting fear win." She cupped his face. "I choose you, Cade Walker. With all your guilt and grief and baggage, I choose us. If you'll have me." He pulled her close, held her like she was the only solid thing in a shifting world. "I choose you too," he whispered into her hair. "God help me, I choose you too." They sat on the floor together, holding each other, both of them damaged, both of them healing, both of them brave enough to choose love anyway. Outside, a car door slammed. Then another. Voices shouted. Sophia and Cade both froze. "Stay here," Cade said, moving toward the door. "No." Sophia stood. "I'm done hiding." They walked out together. Grant was in the parking lot, arguing with Sheriff Morrison. 2 deputies stood nearby, hands near their belts. "You can't do this," Grant was yelling. "I have rights." "You violated a restraining order," Morrison said calmly. "That means you get arrested. Simple math." "I wasn't within 500 feet of her." "You called her, multiple times, from multiple numbers. That counts as contact." Morrison gestured to his deputies. "Gentlemen, this is ridiculous. Sophia, tell them I'm not a threat." Sophia stepped forward. Cade started to stop her, but she shook her head. "You are a threat," she said clearly. "To my peace, to my safety, to my ability to move on with my life. You had your chance, Grant. You threw it away. Now you need to accept that and leave me alone. After everything I did for you. You rejected me, in public, because I wasn't good enough for your image. That's what you did for me." The deputies moved toward Grant. He jerked away. "Don't touch me. I'll leave. I don't need to be arrested." "Too late for that," Morrison said. "You've violated a court order. You're under arrest for harassment and stalking. Turn around." "Sophia, please. Don't let them do this." She looked at him. This man she'd thought she loved. This man who'd made her feel small and wrong and not enough. And she felt nothing. No anger, no pain, no regret. "Goodbye, Grant." They cuffed him, read him his rights, put him in the back of the patrol car. He was still yelling as they drove away, but Sophia couldn't hear the words anymore. Didn't want to. May came out of the inn, Jenna right behind her. "It's done?" Jenna asked. "It's done," Morrison confirmed. "He'll be held overnight, arraigned in the morning. Judge will likely add jail time for the violation. Then he'll be gone for good." "Thank you," Sophia said. After Morrison left, the 4 of them stood in the parking lot. Sophia felt like she should feel something: relief, triumph, vindication. But mostly, she just felt tired. "Come on," May said. "I'm making tea, with whiskey in it." They sat in May's kitchen drinking spiked tea and not talking much. Jenna kept looking at Sophia like she was checking for cracks. "I'm okay," Sophia finally said. Are you? I think so. I mean, I'm not jumping for joy, but I'm not falling apart either. I'm just okay. That's more than okay, Cade said quietly. That's healing. Jenna looked between them. So, what happens now? Sophia turned to Cade. I don't know. What does happen now? He took her hand. That depends on what you want. I want to stay here, in Willow Creek. Is that crazy? Not if it's what makes you happy. What about you? What do you want? I want you to be sure about this town, about me, about all of it. He squeezed her hand. Because once you decide to stay, I'm all in. And I need to know you won't wake up one day and regret choosing this life. I won't. How do you know? Because for the first time in years, I feel like I'm choosing something for me. Not for someone else. Not to prove anything, just because it's what I want. Jenna wiped her eyes. Okay, that was beautiful. But also Cade, if you hurt her. You know where I live. Got it. Cade smiled. But I won't. Hurt her, I mean. Good. Because she's been through enough. May stood. All right, enough of this emotional nonsense. Jenna, you're staying in room 6 tonight. Sophia, you should sleep. It's been a hell of a day. But Sophia didn't want to sleep. She wanted to talk to Cade. Really talk. About everything they'd been dancing around for weeks. They walked to his truck, sat in the cab with the windows down, letting the night air cool them. I meant what I said, Sophia told him. About being all in. So did I. But we should probably talk about what that means, practically. You're right. He turned to face her. So let's talk. What do you see when you think about your future here? Honestly, I see working for May. Maybe taking over the inn someday if she wants to retire. I see learning to ride better, helping you with the ranch when you need it. I see becoming part of this town instead of just passing through. And us. What do you see with us? She took a breath. I see taking it slow, getting to know each other without Grant's shadow hanging over us. I see building something real and solid instead of rushing into something we're not ready for. That sounds smart. But I also see falling in love with you. Maybe I already am. And that scares me, but in a good way. The kind of scared that means it matters. Cade reached over, tucked her hair behind her ear. I'm already in love with you. Have been for weeks. But you're right, we should take it slow. Build it right this time. This time, I rushed things with Emma. Got engaged after 6 months because we were young and stupid and thought love was enough. But love isn't enough if you haven't built the foundation underneath it. So we build the foundation. We build the foundation, he agreed. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Sophia asked the question she'd been avoiding. Do you think Emma would be okay with this? With us? Cade was quiet for a long time. I think Emma would want me to be happy. And I think she'd like you. You're strong like she was. Determined. You don't give up easily. I gave up on Grant pretty easily. That wasn't giving up. That was choosing yourself. There's a difference. Cade. Yeah. Thank you. For seeing me. The real me. Not the version I was trying to be for Grant. Thank you for seeing me too. For not running when you found out about my past. She leaned over and kissed him. Soft and slow and full of promise. The next morning, Sophia woke to sunlight and birdsong. She stretched, feeling lighter than she had in months. Grant was gone. The restraining order was in place. The harassment was over. She was free. Jenna was leaving after breakfast. They stood by her car hugging goodbye. Call me, Jenna said. Every week. I need to know you're okay. I will, I promise. And if you need anything money support, someone to yell at Cade if he screws up, I'm a phone call away. I know. Jenna pulled back, studied her sister's face. You look different, you know. Lighter. I feel different. Good. That's what I wanted. Jenna got in her car, then rolled down the window. "Hey, Soph, I'm proud of you, for leaving, for staying, for choosing yourself. Thank you for coming. Always." After Jenna left, Sophia threw herself into work. She cleaned rooms with a new energy, helped May with inventory, even started talking about redecorating the lobby. "You're nesting," May observed one afternoon. "What?" "Making this place yours. Nesting. It's what people do when they're settling in for the long haul." Sophia looked around the lobby. May was right. She'd rearranged the furniture, added some flowers, suggested new paint colors. She was making it home. "Is that okay?" she asked. "It's more than okay. It's exactly what I was hoping for." That evening, Cade picked her up for dinner. Not at the diner or the watering hole. He'd cooked. At his house. "You cook?" she asked as they drove. "I live alone. It was learn to cook or starve." Fair point. His house was small but clean. The kitchen smelled like garlic and herbs. He'd set the table with actual plates and silverware, even lit a candle. "This is fancy," she said. "I wanted to do something nice, after everything." They ate steak and potatoes and green beans he'd grown himself. Talked about his plans for the ranch, her ideas for the inn, the upcoming town festival in the fall. After dinner, they sat on his porch. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "I got a call today," Cade said. "From Emma's sister." Sophia's heart clenched. What did she want? To tell me she's getting married, and to apologize. Apologize for what? For blaming me all these years, for the things her family said after Emma died. She said she'd been in therapy working through her grief and realized they'd made me a scapegoat for something that wasn't my fault. Wow. Yeah. He was quiet for a moment. She said Emma wouldn't want me to be alone forever. That she'd want me to be happy. What did you say? That I was trying. That I'd met someone who made me want to try. Sophia felt tears building. You told her about me. I did. Is that okay? It's more than okay. He pulled her close. They sat like that as the sun disappeared and the stars came out, neither of them needing to fill the silence with words. Over the next few weeks, life settled into a rhythm. Sophia worked at the inn, learned to ride, spent her evenings with Cade. The town accepted her fully, now no longer treating her like a stranger. Mrs. Patterson asked her opinion on flowers for the church. Frank started making her coffee the way she liked it without asking. People waved when they saw her on the street. She called her mother finally. Had the conversation she'd been avoiding. You sound different, her mother said. I am different. This town, this man, you're sure this is what you want? I'm sure. What about your career, your life in Denver? This is my life now, and I'm happy with it. Her mother was silent for a long moment. Then, if you're happy, then I'm happy for you. It wasn't everything Sophia had wanted to hear. But it was enough. One Saturday, 2 months after Grant's arrest, Sophia was helping Cade mend a fence when he said, I want to show you something. They walked to a small hill overlooking his property. At the top was a simple headstone, Emma's grave. I come here sometimes, Cade said, to talk to her, to remember her without all the pain attached. Do you want me to leave you alone? No. I want you here. He took Sophia's hand. Emma, this is Sophia. She's important to me. Really important. And I wanted you two to meet even if it's like this. Sophia felt tears on her face. Hi, Emma. Thank you. For loving him. For shaping him into the man he is. I'll take care of him, I promise. They stood there together, honoring Emma's memory, while also acknowledging what they were building. It felt right. Like closing one chapter and starting another. That night, Cade said the words Sophia had been waiting to hear. I love you, not the idea of you, not the potential of you, just you, exactly as you are right now. I love you too, she whispered, more than I thought possible. We're really doing this. We're really doing this. He kissed her like he'd been waiting his whole life for permission. 3 months later, Sophia officially bought into the inn. May sold her a partnership with plans to transition full ownership when May retired. "You earned this," May said at the signing. "This place needs young blood, someone who cares about it." "I do care about it. It saved my life." "You saved your own life. The inn just gave you a place to do it." 6 months after that, Cade proposed. Not with a grand gesture or expensive ring, just the two of them on his porch watching the sunset and him saying, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Yes." They married in the spring in the small church with the leaning steeple. May stood as Sophia's witness. Jenna flew in to be maid of honor. Most of the town showed up filling the pews with people who'd become family. Sophia wore a simple dress. Cade wore his best jeans and a jacket that actually fit. They said vows they'd written themselves promising to choose each other every day to build a foundation strong enough to weather any storm, to love each other through grief and joy and everything in between. When they kissed, the church erupted in cheers. At the reception in the town hall, Sophia danced with her new husband, surrounded by people who'd taken her in when she'd had nowhere else to go. She thought about the woman who'd driven into Willow Creek months ago, broken and lost and running from pain. That woman had been scared of everything, of being alone, of not being enough, of never finding love again. But standing here now, married to a man who saw her worth living in a town that felt like home, running a business she loved, Sophia realized something profound. Grant's rejection hadn't broken her. It had freed her. Freed her to find out who she really was without trying to fit into someone else's vision. Freed her to discover that she was stronger than she'd ever imagined. Freed her to choose a life that made her happy instead of a life that looked good on paper. "What are you thinking about?" Cade asked, spinning her in the middle of the dance floor. "How grateful I am. For everything. For you. For this life. For that day, Grant told me I wasn't good enough." Cade raised an eyebrow. "Grateful he rejected you. Grateful it pushed me to find myself. And to find you." "Best rejection either of us ever got then." She laughed. "You could say that." Later, after the dancing and the cake and the well wishes, Cade drove her home. Not to the inn. Not to his ranch. To the house they'd bought together halfway between both. A place that was theirs. Inside, he carried her over the threshold, even though she protested that it was old-fashioned and unnecessary. He set her down in the living room they'd furnished together in the home they'd built together and pulled her close. "Mrs. Walker," he said. "That's me?" She still wasn't used to it. Wasn't sure she ever would be. "I have one more thing to tell you." "What's that?" "You're not broken. You never were. You were just waiting to find where you belonged." She kissed him, tasting tears. His or hers, she wasn't sure. Didn't matter. They were in this together now. Two wounded people who'd found each other and chosen healing over hiding. Who'd built something real and solid and true. "And where do I belong?" she asked against his lips. "Here, with me, in this town, in this life, exactly where you are." She pulled back to look at him. This man who'd seen her at her worst and loved her anyway. This man who'd been brave enough to trust again after devastating loss. This man who'd shown her that love didn't have to hurt, didn't have to make you small, didn't have to cost you yourself. "You're right," she said. "I'm exactly where I belong." And standing in their home, in their town, in the life they'd chosen together, Sophia finally understood what it meant to be whole. Not because someone else had fixed her, but because she'd fixed herself. Not because she'd found the perfect love, but because she'd found the courage to love imperfectly and authentically, and without holding back. Grant's whisper had told her she wasn't enough, but Cade's whisper had told her a different truth, that she was more than enough exactly as she was, and that the right person would see that without her having to prove it. Sophia had been rejected, yes. But that rejection had led her here to this moment, to this man, to this life, and she wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. She had found her home, her purpose, and her peace, not by running from pain, but by running toward herself. And in doing so, She had discovered that the greatest love story isn't about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming complete enough to choose someone who honors who you already are.